Let's talk about the demand for innovations. There are two kinds of demand. The first one is everybody. When people talk about demand, everybody normally means that a demand for consumption. And then, but we are here more interested in a demand for innovation. This one has been not completely understood, relatively speaking, to the demand for consumption. So the key difference is that the demand for consumption is for today, for present economy. Demand for innovation is for future economy. That's the time difference. Out of this time difference, we have a bunch of derived properties. Number one, there's a much greater uncertainty. When it comes to demand for consumption, everybody we already know that we have a pattern, we have a immediate need and want, and then we can use that. So that's very easy to measure. However, when it comes to demand for innovation, we are dealing with a future economy that has inherent uncertainty involved. So you really have to depends on your mindset, depends on the policy, depends on the manipulation, depends on the uh, uh, kind of like artificial push and pull to get people to do more for the innovation. But here, when we say that's why when we say in general that um, endogenous growth theory, innovation growth theory, and new institutional economics, they share one feature. One feature that is that they have not paid much attention to the demand side. Again, so these are two different things. When it comes to new institutional economics, we basically they are focusing on imposing the rules of game. Once we impose that, once we supply the rule of game, and everything should be fine. If you don't supply the rule of game, then we cannot have the sustainable growth. That's why. So for them, for the new institutional economics, the issue is clear. We have not talk much about demand, different demand in a different society for institutions, for democracy, for, property right, for, you know, uh, you know, um, the balance of power for separate government institutions. But here, we really cannot understand. That's why I think Douglas North, the founding father of the new institutional economics, has been puzzled. He basically, throughout his whole life, he's been wondering why would some economy, did not have good institutions, but still economy can grow, and others have. We may have some good institutions, but the economy is basically stagnated. So that's why the simple answer for that is just that they have been ignored demand side without understanding demand for different demand for different institutions in different societies and countries. You can never understand why would some society had some good institutions, others don't. And you can also you never understand how the institution will um, work towards the sustainable economic growth. So now let's put the new institutional economics aside. Let's focus on the two growth theory. One is that the endogenous growth theory, and that is innovation growth theory. They similarly share the same problem that they did not have paid much attention to this. They are both talking about the supply side. So, and also those two guys, especially the new innovation growth theory this year, Nobel Prize winner they always go back to the England model. They're thinking basically that is kind of a tiring after a while. Because we know that England was the winner, right? England and models basically, to a large extent, duplicated it all over the Western world. However, we have to understand asking the deeper questions, and that deeper question have to be looked upon in the contemporary modern society, modern economy, and then you understand it better. Because while we have with modern time, we possess more data. We can ask more detailed questions, and then we can understand it better. If you look at over, 17th, 18th centuries England, a lot of things we don't know. So we have to miss a lot of this. So what will happen is that we inevitably, romanticize the importance of the institutions, and also the early why the England are doing better than the rest of the world, right? So so that's why let's go back to the same question: what is the demand for innovation? That's the key we need to look at on. I have to emphasize that this has been we only have a limited understanding. Why? Because we haven't done really much to study on the demand for innovation. We have been talking too much on demand for consumption. Okay, and then, so that's why when we come back to when we zero down into the demand for innovation, we found that the first thing that is that we don't have uh, um, the uncertainty associated with the future. So that's one barrier. Number two, related to barrier, is that we don't have often we don't have the tangible, reliable measurement for the demand for assumption for demand for innovation. Demand for assumption consumption, that's easy, right? Because we know we can measure the people's income, we can measure the price index, and we can measure a lot of things because it's about the present economy. It's about people's daily need and want. So that's much easier. However, when it comes to the future, we often do not have a reliable measure. Let's say stop here now.